What if the most faithful woman you know was just one conversation away from crossing a line? Not because she's a bad person, not because she planned to cheat, but because she hasn't felt seen in years. You see, temptation doesn't come crashing through the door. It tiptoes in through silence. It creeps into the space between two people who stopped noticing each other. She didn't go looking for danger, she didn't want it, but then it happened. A laugh that felt too intimate, a compliment that made her feel radiant again, a message that arrived late at night and made her heart skip. And suddenly she's standing at the edge of a line she swore she would never even approach. This isn't just about infidelity, it's about emotional starvation. Because when a woman stops feeling seen, even the smallest spark of attention can feel like air after drowning. And the worst part, most men never even notice until it's too late. No one enters marriage thinking they'll become strangers, but over time the connection begins to fade, not with a crash, but with a quiet drift. At first, everything is effortless, long talks late into the night, playful teasing in the kitchen, the feeling of being truly seen and heard. But then, life happens. Schedules tighten. Bills pile up, the baby cries. Conversations become logistics. Can you pick up the groceries? Who's taking the kids to school tomorrow? And before you realize it, you're no longer lovers. You're business partners running a household. She doesn't complain, she adapts, she shows up, she cooks, she works, she loves. But inside, a quiet ache grows, not for passion, but for presence, for the version of you who used to notice her, for the man who once looked at her like she was the only woman in the room. And when that gaze disappears, so does a part of her identity. This is how good women, faithful, devoted women start to become vulnerable, not to lust, but to loneliness. It doesn't start with betrayal, it starts with a glance. A stranger at work tells her she looks radiant in that color. A man at the gym notices the small tattoo behind her ear. A colleague lingers a little longer in conversation, laughs a little deeper at her joke. She doesn't crave him. She craves the feeling he gives her, the feeling of being noticed again. For a moment, she feels like the woman she used to be, confident, alive, magnetic. Not just a mom, not just a wife, not someone managing calendars and to-do lists, but someone who matters. And it feels like air. After years of emotional suffocation, one breath of validation becomes addictive. She's not falling in love, she's remembering what it felt like to be desired. And that's the most dangerous part, because now she has a taste of the version of herself she's been missing. And once you've felt seen again, it's hard to go back to being invisible. That's not how it happens. Infidelity rarely begins with intention. It begins with justification. It starts small, so small she barely notices. It's just a compliment. He's just a friend. It's nice to feel appreciated once in a while. But day by day, thought by thought, the story in her head starts to shift. She tells herself it's harmless. She tells herself her husband would understand if only he knew how lonely she's felt. And so the cracks widen. The emotional connection with this new man deepens. The texts become longer. The tone becomes softer. The anticipation grows. And all the while the voice of reason is getting quieter. Because now she's rewriting the story to make herself the victim. If my husband paid more attention, I wouldn't feel this way. This isn't cheating, it's just talking. This doesn't mean I don't love my husband. These are not excuses, these are survival mechanisms. See, when actions begin to conflict with her values, her brain enters a state of cognitive dissonance, a kind of mental chaos. And in order to keep that chaos from overwhelming her, she has to bend her reality. She has to convince herself she's still a good person, because guilt is heavy. And we will do anything to avoid carrying it, even if that means deceiving ourselves. The truth. The moment justification begins, the boundary has already been broken. Because betrayal doesn't start with a kiss, it starts with a secret, the deleted text, the silent smile when his name appears on her screen. The part of the story she conveniently leaves out when her husband asks, "How was your day?" This is the real beginning. The point where she crosses over from innocent attention into emotional infidelity. And it's a road that only leads in one direction. Forward, because once the heart starts wandering, it rarely turns around on its own. Every story has a point of no return. A moment when it's no longer just talking. When the excuses begin to fade and the feelings become undeniable. She might still wear the ring. She might still kiss her husband goodnight. She might still show up for dinner, still say, "I love you" out of habit. But something fundamental has already shifted, because now her heart belongs somewhere else. It doesn't feel like infidelity, it feels like a lifeline. This new man, he listens. He laughs at her jokes. He remembers the little things, her favorite coffee, that she hates being interrupted, that she used to love painting before life got so heavy. With him she feels seen. With her husband she feels tolerated. So even if there's no physical contact, the emotional betrayal is complete. And here's the dangerous part. She's convinced herself that this connection is more real than the one she has at home. Real passion, real attention, real understanding. She compares every interaction with her husband to every magical moment with this other man. And of course, the comparison isn't fair. One is filtered through romance, through fantasy. The other is filtered through dishes, bills, tired eyes, and years of compromise. But the heart isn't rational. It just knows what feels good and what feels numb. And the more she feeds the fantasy, the more distant her reality becomes. Until one day, she looks at her husband and no longer sees the man she married. She sees an obligation, and that's the moment. The quiet, irreversible shift. From "I'm still trying" to "I've already left you, I just haven't walked out the door yet." Here's the part that's hardest to accept. Most men don't see it happening. Not because they're careless, not because they don't love their wives, but because no one ever taught them to look for the quiet stuff. They think trouble comes with yelling, with slamming doors, with big dramatic fights. But that's not how most marriages end. They don't explode. They erode. Day by day, in the small silences, in the cold shoulders, in the "I'm fine" that doesn't feel fine. A man might notice when his wife stops cooking, but does he notice when she stops laughing at his jokes? He might notice when she says she's going to bed early, but does he notice that she takes her phone with her every time? He might assume everything's okay because she hasn't complained. But silence is not safety. Silence is often a cry that's gone unanswered for too long. She used to reach for his hand. Now she reaches for her phone. She used to share her thoughts. Now she shares them with someone else. And he tells himself she's just stressed. It's just a phase. She'll come around. But here's the truth. When a woman becomes emotionally invested in someone outside the marriage, she doesn't come back the same. She might still live in the house, but her heart has changed addresses. And once that happens, the husband is no longer her anchor. He's the weight she's trying to swim away from. And by the time he realizes she's gone, she's already built a new world emotionally, if not physically. And he's not in it. If you're still listening, good. That means you haven't given up. And neither has she, yet. Because here's the truth most men never hear in time. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. She's not asking for grand gestures, not expensive trips, not diamond rings. She's asking you to notice her, to look her in the eyes when she's talking and really hear her, to ask about her dreams, not just her schedule, to hold her hand with intention, not just routine, and maybe most of all to stop assuming she's fine just because she hasn't said otherwise. Let me be brutally honest with you. Most women don't leave for someone better. They leave for someone who made them feel seen. That man could be you, but you have to show up before it's too late. So what does showing up look like? It looks like putting the phone down when she's talking. It looks like asking her how she's really doing, then listening. It looks like sending a message in the middle of the day just to say, "I thought about you." It looks like touching her without expecting anything back. It looks like curiosity, not just about her past, but about who she's becoming. Because here's the thing, she's not the same woman you married. Life has changed her. Motherhood has stretched her. Responsibility has reshaped her. But deep inside the woman who once lit up when she saw you, she's still in there. She just needs to know that you still see her, not just as the mother of your children, not just as the one who keeps it all together, but as the woman who once made your heart race, the woman who still needs tenderness, the woman who still wants to be chosen again and again. We don't talk enough about what's really at risk when we stop trying, when we stop asking questions, when we stop noticing the small shifts, when we stop choosing the person we promised forever to. You don't just lose a marriage, you lose 1,000 tiny moments you'll never get back. The way she used to smile when you walked through the door, the spontaneous kisses in the kitchen, the secrets whispered after midnight, the way her eyes lit up when you really saw her. You lose her trust. Not because you betrayed her with someone else, but because you betrayed her with your absence. You lose her belief in you. Because when she needed you to notice the distance, you dismissed it. When she gave you signs, you called them mood swings. And when she finally stopped trying, you wondered what went wrong. But by then, she had already walked miles in silence. Miles you didn't see. And that's the thing about emotional distance, it grows slowly. So slowly you think everything's fine, until it's not. Until she's packing bags, or standing in front of you with eyes that no longer shine, or telling you that someone else made her feel what you forgot she needed. And you'll wish you could go back to that night when she was quiet at dinner, back to that moment when she cried and said she didn't know why, back to that weekend when she asked if you still found her beautiful, and you just shrugged. But you can't rewind silence. You can only choose to end it now before it becomes permanent. So ask yourself this: are you going to wake up only when she's already gone? Or are you going to fight for her now while there's still something left to save? Here's the truth most men never hear in time. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Presence is more than being in the room, it's being in the moment. It's eye contact that lingers. It's words that carry weight. It's touch that says, I still choose you. The emotional reset doesn't require expensive getaways or poetic speeches. It begins with intention. So here's where you start, not next week, not tomorrow, now. Stop assuming you know her. She's grown. She's changed. Ask her what's been inspiring you lately. What are you dreaming about right now? Make her feel like a mystery worth exploring again. Brush her hair behind her ear when she's focused. Hold her hand during mundane moments in the car, at the grocery store, on the couch. Remind her that love doesn't need a reason. Compliment her, not for what she does, but for who she is. I love the way you light up when you talk about books. I admire your strength, it humbles me. Give her words she'll replay in her head when she's alone. Set aside 30 minutes where the phones are off. No kids, no TV, just the two of you. Ask her questions that matter. Share what scares you, excites you, moves you. Emotional intimacy is built one vulnerable moment at a time. Don't just love her quietly. Show her that she's still the one you'd pick in a room full of people. Tell her I'd marry you all over again, every version of you. I don't just love you, I see you. Those words don't cost you a thing, but to her they could mean everything. She doesn't want a perfect man. She wants a man who sees her, who listens without rushing, who chooses her even on the days she doesn't feel beautiful. She wants to know that even in the chaos, even in the fatigue, even after all these years, you still look at her the way you did when it all began. And if you can give her that again, you won't just save your relationship. You'll revive a love deeper than what you had before. Marriage doesn't fall apart in a single day. It unravels in the moments we stop paying attention, in the smiles we stop noticing, the touches we stop offering, the conversations we stop initiating. It dies in the silence, in the comfort that becomes neglect, in the routines that become walls. And when a woman finally walks away, she's not doing it on impulse. She's doing it after thousands of quiet goodbyes, after feeling unseen for so long that the only person who made her feel anything was the one she wasn't supposed to feel it from. If you take anything from this entire message, let it be this: love isn't lost overnight, but it can be found again if you fight for it in time. If she's still next to you, if she still picks up the phone, if she still reaches out when she's hurting, then you still have a chance to wake up, a chance to show up, a chance to make her feel like the only woman in the world again. Don't wait for a crisis to become curious. Don't wait for a betrayal to become present. Don't wait until she's standing in front of you with packed bags and tired eyes saying, I begged you with my silence and you never heard me. Because if that day comes, all the apologies in the world won't bring her back. So choose her, see her, fight for her, while there's still something to save. Because sometimes the difference between a marriage that lasts and one that ends is one person deciding to see what the other has been feeling all along.